everyone, this is Kenneth Wong, your Burmese language instructor. In this lesson, I'll introduce you to the letters in the third and fourth row of the Burmese alphabet, and then cover the oo diacritics. That means spelling words with oo, and oo vowel sounds. Normally, I introduce you to one row of letters or 5 letters at a time. So why 2 rows in this episode? Because the letters in these 2 rows, row 3 and row 4, have the exact same consonant sounds. That's one reason. Another reason is the third row consists of letters that often appear in old texts, religious texts, and literary texts. They appear less frequently in everyday modern texts. So in the type of things you might attempt to read as a beginner, they'll only appear once in a while. It makes more sense then to focus on the 4th row instead, which is what we will do now. The first letter for today is called Dawombu, or Da, with a round belly, and its consonant sound is Da, Da. This is an unaspirated Da, by the way, so it's not the T sound in tone, tumble, and tile. You'll have to find and use the D sound in stone, stumble, and style. Da, da. The next word is Ta, or tasintu, and it's called tasintu because it resembles the ankle rings used to hold working elephants in captivity in the old times. And the word for that instrument is sintu, tasintu. This letter's consonant sounds exactly like the typical English T, so with that, you are free to use the T sound in tone, tumble, and tile. The next letter is Da Dwe, or little da, Da Dwe, Da. This sounds exactly like the English letter D. And the letter following it is Dao Chai, Dao Chai, Da with a dented bottom. This also sounds like the English letter D, so you can pronounce it just like the way you would pronounce a typical English letter D, duh. Now, even though they have the same consonant sound, they're not interchangeable when it comes to spellings, by the way. The word for second, as in first, second, third, the ordinal number second is dutiya, dutiya, and that is spelled with the little da. And the word for thadu, thadu, what the Burmese Buddhists will usually say at the end of a prayer, is spelled with the bottom dented da, even though the du in dutiya for second and du in thadu sound identical. The next letter is nange, nange, or na for short. This one sounds exactly like N in English. So if I were to pronounce all the letters in the 4th row, line them all up, it's like this: da, ta, da, da, na, da, ta, da, da, na. Calling them out by their formal name, it's Dawombu, Tasintu, Da Dwe, Dao Chai, and Nange. Now let's take a look at the 3rd row, the one that we skipped. In the alphabet chart, you would see that the one called Tatalenjay is right above Dawombu, or the round belly Da. And that means they both have the same consonant sound, Da, Da. This also holds true of the next set. The word called Tawombe, the second word in the 3rd row, is the same as the word called Tasintu, the second word in the 4th row. They both sound like the English T, 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 Ta. And these following 2 words in the 3rd row, called Dayengao and Dayemok, Dayengao and Dayemok, are exactly like their counterparts in the 4th row. They all sound like the English letter D, duh. Finally, the last letter in the 3rd row, called Naji, Naji, sounds exactly like its counterpart in the 4th row, called Nange. They both sound like the English N consonant, N, N, or Na. In everyday conversations and everyday emails and texts, you're less likely to encounter the letters in the 3rd row. More likely you'll be dealing with letters in the 4th row. Now let's talk about the diacritics making up the oo sound. The basic diacritic for this family is called the chaungin. The chaungin. It literally means to attach one stroke, and that gives you the abrupt short vowel u, u. So if you take the ta consonant and add a stroke at the bottom like this, it gives you do, do. The verb do means to imitate, and in the noun form, a do means a fake. So, for example, Rolex a do means a fake Rolex. If you add two strokes instead of one stroke, that gives you the long vowel, the relaxed tone, oo, oo. So if you add two strokes to the bottom of da or da wombu, you get do, do. That means to resemble, to be similar to. For example, you might describe someone who looks like Elvis Presley as Presley ne do de. Presley ne do de. He or she resembles Presley. In the noun form, do means chopsticks. Finally, if you add wasabao, the two palates to this combo, you raise the sound, so you get instead do, do. That in verb form means to be overcooked, as in a piece of chicken or steak that has been grilled with high heat and is now charred and unedible. So these are the three words. If I were to read them together, they would be do, 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 do. Three variations of the oo family diacritic. Be careful with this leg here. It's important that the foot of your leg is turning right in this direction. There's another diacritic where the foot is turning left, and that's not the same. Now let's take a look at the letter na, na. And if you attach a single stroke or the chaungyin to na, you get nu, nu, short vowel. That means tender, delicate, soft, or unripe, as in green fruits not ready for eating yet. If you add two strokes to na and then add wasabao or the two palates, you get the word nu, nu, high tone. And that as a verb describe meat that has been cooked to be really soft and tender. If you're making beef stew or pork stew or roast chicken and the meat is falling off the bone, in Burmese you would describe it as nude, nude, to be really tender and soft. So these two words, when read one after another, will be nu and nu, nu, to be tender and delicate, and nu, nu, something that has been cooked to become really soft and falling off the bone. By the way, you might notice that when you attach strokes to the bottom of the letter na, its own leg is written in a folded form. That's because before computerized text, people had to write these with pencils, pens, and sometimes even scratch out these words in pointed objects in ancient times. They found that if you have too many strokes all clustered at the bottom of a word like na, it became too difficult to write or read, so they came up with the idea to fold na's leg for clarity when it's used with these diacritics. Now if you take the letter ta or tasin tu and added two strokes, it became tu, tu, tu de. The verb form means to be thick, as in a thick book. And if you add wasabao or two palates to it, it becomes tu, tu. In the verb form, it's tu de. That means to respond to someone calling you verbally. So if I were to read these two words together, one after another, it's tu and tu, tu and tu. To sum up, if you add one stroke to the bottom of your consonant like this, you get the short vowel u, u. For example, tu, to imitate or mimic. And if you add two strokes, you get the long vowel u. For example, do, to resemble or to be similar. Finally, if you add wasabao to this combination, two palates, you raise the tone and you get the high tone oo, oo. For example, do, to be overcooked, to be charred. Well, that's all for this episode. Until next time, happy Burmese learning. See you later. Namadwe.